According to the Daily Telegraph, the reason we're giving up the Chagos Islands is Joe Biden told Keir Starmer that that's what he had to do. And Keir Starmer did it. I think one of the defining characteristics of a bully is that when they come up against a bully that's a bigger bully than they are, they cave almost immediately, because bullies are at heart cowards. I'm Granniopteryx. I'm on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. So according to this article here, Biden told Starmer that refusing to sign away the islands would jeopardise the so-called special relationship between America and the United Kingdom. I would like to ask what that special relationship is, because I've seen no particular sign of it. When America decided to pull out of Afghanistan, for instance, was Britain warned of this before America went? Not a bit of it. America pulled out. I think some of the British troops found out about it on social media. The Telegraph understands that American officials pushed the UK towards the deal, fearing that if it was not signed, Mauritius would successfully apply for a binding rule of the International Court of Justice to take control of the islands, effectively shuttering the airbase. So, this was all to do with America's interests, not Britain's. And that's what Keir Starmer seems to be all about now. He's constantly telling everybody that, that the British people, the ordinary average British people, they're a bunch of right-wing thugs and hard right thugs, sorry. And then when a hard left thug goes head-to-head with him, yeah, he gives up. Boris Johnson said the terrible deal made the UK look pathetic. It certainly does. And some have argued that the base would come under threat from Chinese spyware, and that is without a doubt. And the problem with Biden is he doesn't seem to, well, he obviously doesn't realise these things, but it's not him really, is it? I mean, he doesn't realise anything. You have a hard time getting him to tell you what day it is. No. Where the problems really come from are the people who are pushing Joe Biden around, the glove puppet people. And they are looking at this in a very short-sighted way. They think they can push the British out and get their airbase. You've seen the map of the Chagos Islands. Diego Garcia is down here. If all of this belonged to China, then Diego Garcia would be not even worth the bit of rock it's stuck on, because they could see everything from there. No trouble at all. They can plant stuff around the island. Who's to know? The Foreign Secretary, that's David Lammy to you and me, that the dispute between Britain and Mauritius was clearly not sustainable. No, it's not sustainable. What you do is you say, no, right, that's it. And then that's the end of it. What's Mauritius going to do? Roll out their nuclear arsenal? And Labour faced a choice between abandoning the base altogether or breaking international law. No. We have to talk about international law. The European Court of Human Rights, for instance, which our governments have been only too pleased to kowtow to, is the same sort of thing. You have these courts, they have agendas to push, and they push them. In many cases, they are nothing to do with law. just look at the court cases that say that Israel is, I don't know, what are they saying last? Genocide or war crimes or something, when clearly they are not by any standards. But they come up with this because it's politically expedient, and they want to be nice to China. So they say, this is going to be against international law. As far as I understand it, Britain bought the Chagos Islands outright. So if David Lammy says the dispute between Britain and Mauritius was clearly not sustainable, that's only in the understanding of the Foreign Secretary. And the understanding of the Foreign Secretary is about the level of a Janet and Jane book. Asked why the islands should not be seen as a precedent for other sovereignty disputes, such as the Falklands and Gibraltar, the spokesman said, "It's a unique situation based on its unique history and circumstances and has no bearing on other overseas territories." No, it's not a unique situation. When you give up one thing, you're going to end up putting yourself in a weak position with regard to other things. It's not, it doesn't wash saying it was a one-off. It's sort of interesting how the whole Chagos Island saga has come full circle, because giving this island to Mauritius will not mean that the Chagosians will be able to go back to Chagos, more of that in a minute, but that the Chinese will move in. So the people who used to live on this island, who were expelled from there in the 1960s by the British at the behest of the American government, they will still be dispossessed of their homes on the Chagos Island. Right. What happened was this. Harold Wilson's government, another socialist government, buckled to American orders to get people off the Chagos Islands so that they had plenty of room for their naval base in Diego Garcia. This is the Google overview. The UK began expelling the Chagosians in 1968 at the request of the United States. Now, the interesting thing here is the Socialist Worker wrote this article quite recently, in fact a couple of days ago. Labour's handed over Chagos to Mauritius, showing the shameful legacy of British imperialism, and Chagosians will want their island back. But let's look at it this way. It was a socialist government that actually dispossessed the Chagosians to start with. It's funny how socialist governments, while always complaining about the rights of the people, always end up moving people out. I mean, you think of what happened to the Tatars in Ukraine, for instance. Soviet Union just moved them out to Siberia, where many of them died, of course. They just weren't set up for that sort of an environment. And there were many others moved around as well, and in China. And what are they? They're all socialist governments. Now, the Chagosians have been trying to get back. Some of them were resettled in Mauritius. Which is why Mauritius, one of the reasons Mauritius is using to lay its claim to the Chagos Islands. And when Starmer gives the Chagos Islands to Mauritius, Mauritius will not allow those people to come back either. The Chinese are going to take it over, replacing the Chagosians who couldn't go back. So Starmer is completing the job that Harold Wilson did. And it's all to do with the socialist mindset. People belong to the state, so you can move them around any way you want. And the British governments, successive British governments, could have let the Chagosians back, but they never actually gave the islands away in such a way that there's just no way the Chagosians could get back. And the British have been prevaricating because of the Americans, of course. I'm not saying that the Conservative Party is particularly clean in this instance, but Starmer really has set the seal on it, hasn't he? And as I said, it seems to me to be particularly suitable that what the Labour government started, this present Labour government is finishing, and with absolutely no thought. If the Labour Party were that bothered about the rights of people, it would give the island to the Chagosians under the protection of the British government, wouldn't it? That would be the way to make things right. But no, it's given it to the Mauritians, who will give it to the Chinese, and that's the end of it. Yep. Okay, that's what the story is all about. Till next time. You can help my channel by subscribing and clicking the notification bell. That's quite important. And by sharing if you're so inclined. Links to my other channels and to donation methods are in the description. But the best way you can help is simply by clicking like and notify. Thank you.